Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Hey wife, did you know that Anchor is sponsoring our show?
Really? Don't we use Anchor to distribute our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, and we are on just about every other platform available as well, thanks to them.
Why do we use Anchor as our podcasting service?
Well, they make editing and distributing our show a breeze.
What if one of our listeners wants to start their own podcast?
Then they should head over to anchor.fm or download the app to get started.
Awesome! You guys should go do that right now! Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what today is?
I do. Do you know what today is?
Today is Q&A Saturday.
That's the one.
It is.
Yeah. So we had some questions.
We did have some Q's.
And now we're going to answer them?
I have some A's.
You have some A's?
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of our questions was about the difference between Beelzebub and Baalzebub.
Yeah.
And the other one was about that guy who sacrificed his son and then the Israelis. I said Israelis.
Yeah, no.
That is not correct.
Israelites.
The Israelites. I apologize. That was so wrong.
Yeah.
The Israelites were like, oh, sorry you're mad at me and I'm winning. Bye.
Right.
And we were like, what?
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay, so let's go answer some Q's.
Okay.
All right. Hey, wife, do you like coffee in the morning?
I sure do, husband. Morning, noon, night. Which reminds me, I need to add that to our grocery list because we're running low.
Wait, before you do that, check out the website ungodlybrew.com where you can purchase a pound of your favorite flavor of coffee.
What if I want more than 1 pound?
Either order a larger amount or better yet, get 10% off by setting up a subscription for every 2 weeks or a month or whatever works for you.
Did you set up something special for our listeners?
You know I did. Exclusive for our listeners, get an additional 10% off subscriptions by entering the code SACRILEGIOUSCOFFEE at checkout.
That's a hellishly good deal.
Ungodly Brew is hellishly good coffee.
Okay, so about Beelzebub and Baalzebub.
Beelzebub and Baalzebub.
And also Beelzebul.
And Beelzebul?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the short answer.
All right.
They're the same.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want a little bit more details on that,
I
though?
suppose. Sure, let's do it.
Okay, so Beelzebub and Baalzebub are the same, and they are associated with the Canaanite god Baal.
Okay. Yep.
And then Beelzebul is another one that we see somewhere.
At some point. Down the road.
And that is derived from a Philistine god.
Oh, interesting.
Okay? And Beelzebul is also the same name as Satan. Okay.
Got it. Beelzebul is?
Yeah.
I thought, because I've heard Beelzebub associated with Satan before,
they
too.
They are kind of all, it just depends on which part you're reading, what thing you're reading.
Got it.
Okay. So in Christian times, Lucifer came to be regarded as the name of Satan before his fall.
Okay.
So Lucifer was the angel.
Got it.
And then he fell, and then he became Satan.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Satan is the prince of devils. Beelzebub is the lord of flies and the lord of dung.
The Lord of Flies, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
You never heard that?
No.
Oh. I knew
And
that
dung,
one of them
huh?
was the lord of flies. You are dumb.
No, I said dung. I said dung.
Then you said I'm dumb.
No, I did not.
Well, you are, though.
Oh, okay.
But yes, dung like doo-doo.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then Lucifer, of course, is the fallen angel of light, or the light bearer, or the morning star, or the herald of the dawn.
Got it.
Okay? So
it sounds like even when it comes to who the fuck Lucifer, Satan, yada, yada, yada is, there's a lot of confusion even there.
There is. And sometimes it's all one entity. Sometimes it's various things that fall under like one, like Satan is the big one and all of the other ones fall under him. Sometimes they're all various demons and devils.
Right.
So it just...
But it seems like in like, just common vernacular today, most of the "it was bad in the Bible" is also considered the devil.
Right.
Like, when we're just talking Beelzebub and Lucifer and whatever, like they all kind of refer back to that same entity. So
yes, but I have a thing to push back on that a little bit.
Okay.
Like you said that with regard to the Bible, that it's like the devil or the evil thing in the Bible.
Sure.
In the Old Testament, Satan is viewed as the prosecutor of Yahweh's court.
Interesting.
Like, particularly, the example given was the book of Job.
Okay.
He's not regarded as an adversary of God, but a tool of God, and as the prosecutor. Like, so that arm.
He only became the devil because people misread him?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And then also the New Testament and Christianity onward, they had to have a bad guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not our fault when we're evil. It's the
devil's fault.
The devil's fault.
Right.
And, of course, there's the question of, but the devil is something that God made.
Right.
There's that argument back and forth. And that's where you get a lot of, like, current television that has a sympathetic view of the devil, or that, like the show Lucifer.
Right.
Shows just this humanizing and, like I said, sympathetic take on it to try to make the story a little bit more palatable.
Right. I mean, the devil did go down to Georgia.
He did.
Right?
He did it, but he lost that contest from what I heard.
He did, yeah.
So, Satan's task in that whole not an adversary, but just a prosecutor.
Yeah.
His task is to roam the earth, seeking out acts or persons to be reported adversely to the king.
Okay. So he's a tattletale, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
And his function, thus, is the opposite of that of the eyes of the Lord. So, like the angels and stuff.
Yeah.
Which roam the earth, strengthening all that is good.
Got it.
Okay.
Except for that one time when they blocked Balaam's passage and then almost killed him. That was
Balaam.
Balaam, yeah, sorry. Yeah. He wasn't strengthening anything there. He was just ready to kill him.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Again, it just depends on what part of the Bible you're reading.
Right. And also God sent the people of the angels to destroy what were the two cities? The Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
So they did not strengthen anything there other than, God's a dick.
Well, yeah.
So
one might say that they were supporting God by getting rid of evil.
Sure.
But I think that's a stretch.
That is definitely a stretch.
So through his subordinate demons, Satan can take possession of human bodies, afflicting them or making them diseased.
Interesting.
And that's where you get shows like what we're watching currently on Paramount is Evil.
Right.
And it is so good, you guys. It's actually an award-winning show. Oh, I didn't realize that.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some things that were, as far as quality, that we were
okay.
But it's fun.
Let's just say the acting is phenomenal. Right? The acting is phenomenal. Some of the characters, like the daughters, we just are like, stop. Just stop.
Yeah, the daughters are trash.
We hate the daughters. We hate the way the daughters are written. The actresses are fine, and the daughters would be fine if they were written less annoying.
Right.
And the main character girl is not defined enough in her agnosticism and in her possession or whatever.
I think that's where it lacks, is the writing has fallen a little short here and there.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good enough show, but, like, the writing falls short occasionally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's it.
But this is not a review about the show Evil.
No, I just really like to talk about TV.
Right.
Because I watch it.
Right.
So, okay. And, we're talking about the devil. And so it's interesting to talk about what kind of shows that paint the devil in various lights.
Right.
So, in the show Lucifer, we've got the devil is this nice guy who was misunderstood, you know? And then in Evil, it's definitely this adversary and the Lord of Flies, and he is very evil.
Right.
So, it's just interesting that this one entity can create so much storyline and diversity in personality.
Well, and TV likes to write about the devil a lot more than they do about God.
Well, sure.
Generally speaking, I would say.
Good is boring.
Good is kind of boring, yeah.
So, okay, that was that question.
Okay.
So the next question was the three kings, Jehoshaphat, and I forget who the other two were. They joined up and they were going to attack the Moabites.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
And then the Moabite king was like, oh no, we're losing or whatever. And so he's like, I'm going to kill my son. I'm going to like sacrifice him and stuff.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we were like, wow, what? That escalated quickly. Jesus Christ.
Right.
So that act showed how desperate the king of Moab was following his defeat on the field.
Okay. Yeah.
And he did this to honor his pagan gods.
Okay.
And to show his own people his determination to prevent defeat.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a show of strength that he did this, not desperation.
Sure.
Okay?
I get that.
And hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
Okay. So when the Israelites saw this, particularly Jehoshaphat, they were like, Jesus Christ, this guy's not going to quit. Like, he just sacrificed his own fucking son to pagan gods.
Right.
And so they realized at that point that they could keep fighting and they could knock down a lot, but they were never going to be able to match that amount of will. Because Jehoshaphat was of God or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was still not all in, right? And the other two were not God at all.
Right.
They were all kind of bad, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they didn't have this, well, we've got God on our side, so we'll just keep fighting.
But God was technically on their side.
Technically, but not, they didn't trust in him. You know what I mean? They were not godly people.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. But like in the past, though, and this is what bothers me, I guess, is that in the past, if God was on the side of whoever, generally the Israelites, right? And then somebody questioned their faith by not doing what was expected of them, they would be punished.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. They did not reach out and ask God for help, and they were not instructed in any way. So they weren't disobeying because they hadn't asked for help.
Okay.
They were just stumbling around in the dark doing their thing.
Got it. So, like, essentially, God's not very much in control right now. Like, God is kind of secondary to even, like, pagan gods and stuff.
Yeah. And that is a big deal.
Like, even the Bible is admitting it by saying this pagan god was, this king sacrificed his son to this pagan god, and the Israelites stopped in their tracks and fucking quit fighting.
Yeah.
Because this god... according to what was written, this God and the possibility of it existing or whatever was more powerful than Yahweh.
Because they were not fully on board with Yahweh.
No, I get it. I get it. But like, it's literally in the Bible that God essentially was defeated by another God.
Yes and no.
In a way.
It was the people's lack of faith and lack of living correctly. The people were defeated by the pagans. The people's lack of faith was defeated by this other guy's absolute faith.
Got it.
Misplaced, but still strong.
It just strikes me. It doesn't help boost the argument for God, though.
No,
like
absolutely
in any
not.
way whatsoever.
Absolutely not.
Because it's just it stinks of weakness to me. It does. It's not.
Really does. Uninvolvement is weakness to me.
Right. Now, I mean, there's no way that there's nothing that we have read thus far that brings me anywhere near believing in God.
Right.
Like, in fact, most of this has just been trash shit that I'm like, I wouldn't even believe in you if you did exist, because fuck you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But like, when I read stuff like this, I'm like, why do we never hear about any of this kind of stuff? Like, why is this never discussed? Why don't we talk about these weak points where God was weak? You know, like, this would be, at the very least, if priests and pastors brought this up and talked about it, it could allow for failure. It could allow for not perfect, right?
Well, the way that they would spin it, though, would not be what you're saying. It wasn't God being weak. It was man being weak.
Right, but the way I view, like, okay, the way I view the way God is portrayed in churches is essentially the way that swimsuit models are towards, young women who are worried about their image.
Okay.
Like, sorry, this is a long walk, I guess, but like.
No, I'm here to follow.
Yeah, no, I got you. So they portray God in such a way that, for people that don't read the Bible, the way God is portrayed and Jesus is portrayed is that your love has to be perfect and all encompassing, and you have to accept, and it's got to be perfect.
You got to be all in,
right? But that's not really the case if you actually read the entire Bible. The entire Bible says, well, you can be perfect. Solomon, for example, he was perfect up until that last fucking chapter in the book, right? When
suddenly he had 1,000 wives or whatever.
Yeah. And God loved this dude. He was all about Solomon, right? And then all of a sudden he's bad. But there's also been people that fuck up and they're like, but I'm going to, that have been working for the wrong side. And they're like, I, bow to your, because I saw his power, and then God accepts them.
Right.
But then he also curses entire generations. There's just no consistency.
There's no consistency that we can see, yeah.
Right. And it crazy to me.
It makes it very difficult to try to have any sympathy for this character, much less for those who choose to follow him.
Right. And all I'm saying is that the way that God is portrayed to, churches and to the people that follow churches is that it's a perfect God. It's a God that deserves all of your love and all your respect and all all the things and all the money.
Right. Definitely all the money.
But if they taught the flaws as well, and I'm not even saying you have to be anti-God, but if you taught the flaws that are inherent in the Bible as well, you could maybe allow for people not to have this crazy view about what they have to do in life in order to win God's love.
Right.
It's just I don't know. It's too much. It's too much to live up to, and it's just not. You don't even have the Bible allows for other things to be said that you could say, well, yes, even God's fucked up.
Right.
Right. And even God, even people that were there when he was around didn't fully believe. Right. I understand. You can be understanding to someone who doesn't fully understand and doesn't believe, because you can say, well, I understand because I've read the Bible and this is where this happens. And I'm not trying to say. I'm just saying, I think that it's just not. There's no room for error in Christianity. You have to. It's all love for God.
Well, and that is something that I can say on a personal basis with my parents. They think that the people who are Jesus freaks and who are really into the peace and love of Jesus and forgiveness and all that,
right,
that they're wrong, because that is a just do your best to be a good person attitude, and they're like, no, it's more than that.
Right.
You have to do all the God all the way. And
but even they haven't read all the Bible, because
clearly
they're not doing all, I could, if we really wanted to, I could take your parents' actions, even just around us, and I could say, this is not godly. This is not, I guarantee you have mixed threads in your fucking shirts.
Yeah.
I guarantee you've done this, that, or the other.
Well, the thing is their kind of Christianity, they want to say that they are living by the Old Testament rules without living by the Old Testament rules, but they also want to say that they are with Jesus and Jesus is Lord and King and blah, 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 but that also Jesus is too weak.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, they want their cake and eat it too. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter, because they're not actually the ones reading the Bible. They're reading the bits that somebody tells them to read.
Sure.
And then they're saying that they agree with they essentially think they've read I guarantee if we talk to your parents and ask them if they read the Bible, they would say yes.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also guarantee in the same breath, they have not read the entire Bible. At least if they have, not in the straight through method.
No.
And not without a coach nearby.
Right.
I
absolutely
you may have
agree
touched
with you.
every section, but you haven't read the Bible.
Right. No, I totally agree with you on that.
So, I don't know. I just...
It's very frustrating.
It really is.
Because we're trying to find a way to understand. We're trying to come into this story and this world and be like, okay, give me your best case. You know, present yourself.
And at this point, I feel like I'm just holding out for the New Testament because I'm like,
no,
I got nothing, man.
This is trash.
This is crap.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, we're having fun with this.
Sure.
I'm enjoying doing what we're doing, you know,
Sure.
and I love learning about it because it just it reinforces my beliefs. It reinforces my belief that there is no God, you know, and it's just there's no way. There's no fucking way.
I agree.
That's
100%.
That's all I got.
I started out agnostic, and now I'm pretty hard atheist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how far I've come. So there you go.
Well, it's this wonderful idea, right? Like you just on the side, it's like, yeah, okay, God, sure.
Well, mostly my agnosticism wasn't like I allow for possibilities so much as that I'm like, well, in my personal life, it doesn't really matter one way or the other.
Right.
Like,
but you don't even want to be associated with this fucker, do you?
No. I'm like, no, there's absolutely no God because this God of this book is just human trash.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Definitely. All right. We're going on a bit here, so we're going to go ahead and cut this off, and we will be back tomorrow with...
Sacrilegious Book Club.
That's the one. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the book club and the wrap-up, and then we'll be back on Monday with...
2 Kings chapter 6.
See you guys.
Bye.
Hey, wife. I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.